So it's finally here, the long-awaited new release of Callaway's Apex CB irons, part of the Apex family for 2023 and 2024. It's taken Callaway an absolute age, it feels like, to bring this iron out. We're going to put it to the test today, but before we do, remember guys, if you like our videos, please hit that subscribe button and tell all your golfing friends. This club has been long awaited from Callaway. Obviously it looks very good. I mean, it's a player's iron, so it looks great behind the golf ball. So Callaway have brought out the new Apex family, and today we're going to take a little look at the CB range. So this is the cavity back range. It's got the small cavity in the back here. It's not exactly the same as the MB, although one thing they do like and have already sort of to shout about is the ability to kind of combo this in as many different ways as you want, even with the Pro head as well. But what are the key features of this iron? Well, it's a full body and face forged club, so the feel of this thing is unbelievable. But what they have done is they've moved an awful lot of weight in the heel and the toe to make sure that you can shape the golf ball as much as you want. Now, with Callaway as well, what they've done this year is they've got this progressive CG. So in the longer irons, your 3, 4, 5 irons, they've got this lower down in the face, and that moves through the bag up into the face. Now, what does that do? Well, it makes sure that the flight of the golf ball is a little bit more consistent and a little bit more powerful. So when it's lower down, it's going to help you pop the ball up. So you're going to need that in maybe a 3, 4, 5 iron. And then when you've got it slightly higher in the face with your 8, 9 wedge, you're going to maybe not pop it up as much, and it's still going to be a powerful club. So overall, I mean, the look of this thing looks fantastic. One of the things that I know that they're bringing out is this ability to change the back of this back weight, and you'll be able to change color for that, which will be quite cool. But overall, it's a good looking iron. I think it's an improvement on the previous model in terms of the look. This kind of satin finish for me looks really, really sharp. I'm interested to see. Now, I've always played, back in the day, I always used to play a Callaway Apex iron, so I'm always fond of this particular model. However, the previous 2 models for me haven't been that good. They haven't performed when stacked up. So I'm really interested to put this on Trackman, especially the CB. The MB might be a bit of a tasty one for me to hit, but I think putting the CB on Trackman, and I'm really excited to see what the numbers say. We're about to put this Callaway CB to the test. As I said before, I've played Pro for a number of years, the old Apex Pro, which I always used to like. Did used to pop them up a little bit high, so it's going to be interesting to see what this one feels like. So let's hit a couple of shots. I think one of the things that they've done really well, and everyone seems to be focusing on this year in their new irons, is the ability for the club to interact with the turf. So they've done a little bit work with the leading edge and the trail edge to make sure that the club moving into the golf ball and into the ground and then exiting is as smooth as possible. Going to help control the face a little bit, I guess. I mean, I love stuff and little bits of detail like that, the way they bring that. So let's just hit this and see what this feels like. Well, if that was on the turf there, I think we'd have needed that little bit of help from that turf interaction, because that was really, really heavy. So let's hit a couple more and try and find the middle of the club and maybe hit the little ball before we hit the big ball. A little bit better. Feels really soft off the face. They talk about this iron being very good for workability, to be able to move the golf ball. So it's going to help that player that likes to move the golf ball right to left and left to right. Obviously it looks very good. I mean, it's a player's iron, so it looks great behind the golf ball. It's solid. Interestingly, the loft of this is 34 degrees, so this is the 7 iron. So they're not very strong in loft, which is fascinating because I'm still carrying that 7 iron 180. Now, in previous videos, I've always talked about my magic number of 175, 176 with my 7 iron. So that has gone quite a long way with a traditional, I'd call maybe a more traditional loft with 34 degrees. It's not one of these 7 irons that's at 31 or 30 like some of the other brands have brought out. So it's a very powerful iron whilst maintaining a decent amount of loft on the club. Now, Where that actually helps is maybe down into the lower end, so pitching wedge, A wedge, where you've had to sometimes, and you'll see it with some other brands, they've had to maybe add 2 or 3 extra wedges just to fill the gap, if you like, between the stronger lofts that they're now using and where they go down into their lob wedges and sand wedges. However, with the Apex, especially with the CB, they've got a 10 iron, which is a pitching wedge. I kind of think it's quite cool that you call it a 10 iron. They used to do that in the old days. And an 11 iron, which is the A wedge. Now, that's it. There's no additional extra wedge, and there's no additional extra gap wedge as some of the other brands. So it's a real nice traditional setup. It works quite nicely. I really like the feel of that. Definitely, I'm a bit surprised actually how far that's gone. Bear in mind I haven't nutted one either. That was a better strike. Now that flew with a flight that I'd like to see. Where's that gone? So 173 through the air. Now that feels more like it. Sounds daft, I've talked this about before, I don't really want that extra yardage. That was really nice. Got one more. Ah, fat, come on, go hit another one. Go hit another one. We like to leave those fat ones in there. Well, those heavier miss strike, Chris definitely likes to leave in there. He likes to make sure that he doesn't use that edit button too much and the bad strikes are in. That was a better swing. Wow. So again, the club head speed's pretty good. 94, 176. So I really like that yardage. Now for me, that would mean that I'd feel comfortable hitting that. It doesn't feel hot. It doesn't feel uncontrollable. It doesn't feel like I'm going to get a jumper. It's a really soft face. Land angle's insane, 52 degrees land angle. So not only is it carrying the number that I want, it's actually coming down very softly and going to hit the green. So hitting the 5 iron and the 4 iron in that would be quite exciting because I think you'd be able to hold the green quite nicely. Smash factor's good. Overall, it's a really good. It's a really good iron, and I say that I know about all the irons. I mean, there's no bad club anymore, but I think what's fascinating with this is this club has been long awaited from Callaway. They've taken, as I said at the beginning, they've taken ages to redevelop the Apex range, and they've really missed it. They've really missed a good player's iron. When guys come in and have fittings and they want a good player's iron, the old Apex, the last couple of models, for me, they just didn't really perform. So it kind of meant Callaway were kind of left in the kind of background when it came to a good player's iron. Having hit that for a few shots and obviously hit it this morning in test, I think this could be a real winner. I think there's a few brands out there that have got some player's irons that are going to really sort of stand up and look at what Callaway have achieved here, because with a 34 degree 7 iron, I'm carrying it great distance, I'm getting great land angle, and it feels super soft. So we're going to hit one more, and then we're going to give it the AF Golf Score. Good one to finish. So there we go, guys, the Apex CB. It's a really good iron. I know it feels like I say that over all of them, but this one actually is really good. And I think after waiting so long for Callaway to bring this out, they've done an absolute brilliant job of producing something in the CB that I think will be challenging most forged brands and most forged clubs and models. And also I think that we'll get guys wanting to come and try this iron. So let's give it the AF Golf Score. So we always start with that look. That satin finish looks great. The head's not too small, which is sometimes a fear with some of these types of irons. So I personally really like it. I'm an Apex fan in the past, so I think for me it's going to be a 9 out of 10. Feel, I cannot complain about the feel. Now, I don't think there's any iron, or it's going to be very difficult to give an iron a 10 out of 10, because there's always some improvement and it's always subjective. But for feel, I'm definitely going to keep that up there with the look, which is 9 out of 10. So the two things that are most important for me, look and feel, this one's right at the top of the leaderboard. Affordability, It's not cheap. You're not making a cheap iron. So we're looking around the 180 to 190 pound a stick, depending on options. It's not cheap, but it's not expensive compared to some other brands that are in this same market. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's not a cheap iron. We wouldn't expect it to be, but you know, you've got to love your golf if you're going to invest in a set of these. Custom options, yeah, Callaway do it well. You know, they have enough shaft options. I think making sure that the fitters have got enough options is important. Because we build Callaway, there's a few additional options that we add, which is great. You can get some LA Golf in there and whatnot, but overall, you know, most of these brands now are good in custom options, especially you would expect that from a forged iron. So 8 out of 10 for custom options. Performance, overall, I liked it. I liked it because it wasn't hot. It didn't feel hot. It felt controlled. It felt soft off the face. It's probably the best forged iron I've hit so far this year. And that's saying something because I loved the Titleist T-Series. But I always felt with T-Series I was going to get 1 or 2 at my speed that was going to pop. This didn't feel like it was going to do it. So overall I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10 for performance. Excuse me there. So overall AFGolfStore 42 out of 50. That is a high scoring iron. So a really, really good result and worth waiting for from Callaway. So there we go, guys. That finishes the Apex CB review. Great test that, really enjoyed it. Remember, if you like our content, and we're trying to create content that's valuable to you in the equipment space, making sure we test the latest and greatest irons, woods, drivers, and if there's anything that you want us to test, please put it in the comments below and we'll get that into our future videos. But in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to our channel and tell all your golfing friends.